Hit the button.
Still not on.
Oh, that seems problematic. Well, we might be sharing a microphone tonight. I really enjoyed diving back into all of the college football first-year head coaches because some were more successful than I thought, and some were less successful than I thought. And it's really weird to look back in revisionist history. There you go. You're right now.
Yeah, I'm on now. Thank you.
The national championship comes to an end. Ohio State dominates in the first half. They lead 31-7. And Marcus Freeman's crew battle back into it to make it a game at the end of regulation. Ohio State wins the first 4-team playoff. They win the first 12-team playoff. I thought Notre Dame...
And now they'll never win another 12-team playoff.
Probably not, because that's how it worked in the first scheme. I thought when Notre Dame drove down, it took them 18 plays to 10 minutes off the clock to score. I thought they were in serious trouble. Like when you're eating up that much clock and you're having that many problems moving the football, didn't seem great.
Well, in talking about the game, that's what I thought Notre Dame needed to do, right? Was like keep the ball out of the hands of Ohio State.
Yeah, that's just not sustainable at that level.
I mean,
18 plays.
No, 18 play drives. Like you have to be so locked in. Like you can't have penalties. It's just got to be, everything's got to be on point. And like, obviously their scripted drive was on point.
Yeah.
And after that, it sort of went awry.
Yeah. And listen, Al Golden just took the job with Cincinnati. You heard Monte Bolaños just tell you for the Fox Sports update. But I mean, he has been one of the better defensive coordinators in the country for a long, long time. That's going to be a big replacement for that staff in South Bend.
Yeah, big shoes to fill for sure, because that defense was really good all year.
Do you think Jeremiah Smith should be the preseason betting favorite to win the Heisman next season?
No, because he's not a quarterback.
Right, but we've seen Devontae Smith do it.
Yeah.
I mean, Travis Hunter just did it as a non. I mean, you can make the argument he was a wide receiver, sure, but I mean, primarily a defensive player for where he made the most of his hay at. A good wide receiver, but a great cornerback. I really think that he's going to be a guy that if you can get him at a pretty big chunk of change for plus money, there might be some value on that bet.
Yeah, and I mean, there's still questions about who's going to play quarterback for Ohio State.
Just another 5-star.
Just another 5-star, but he'll be a first-year starter. Like Dylan Raiola was a 5-star.
How many years was Will Howard at Ohio State?
1.
Oh, okay. Worked out well.
But he was not a first-year starter.
Worked out well for Jeremiah Smith.
I'm just saying.
Like, we don't know that Ohio State is going to go the transfer portal route again.
If we're talking about,
they don't feel sold on Julian Sayin or Aaron Nolan,
who's transferring.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. That's right. So yeah, I mean, they may go back into the transfer portal. I think that's the way of college football now. Go get a really old quarterback, give him an entire mint full of money, and let him try to win you a national title.
But if you're talking about betting favorites for the Heisman,
right,
it's a quarterback, and it's probably Arch Manning.
All right, I'm going to go on. I'm going to give you a future bet right now. There is 0% chance Arch Manning wins the Heisman.
But he's probably going to be the betting favorite.
Man, people love them some Jeremiah Smith though. And people hate Texas, and I don't know. I feel like Jeremiah, like that's where I think my money's going to go in the offseason, by the way.
See if there are early odds. There's an early line. And number 1 is actually Garrett Nussmeier from LSU.
Oh, okay.
Quarterback. Arch Manning's 2. He's Nussmeier's plus 900, Arch Manning plus 950.
I think people are getting a little bit of too happy feet about what Jaden Daniels did in Brian Kelly's system. Because Garrett Nussmeier seems to look
he had tremendous numbers.
He had good numbers, but they got to win. They got to figure that defense out first.
3, 4, 5 are all also quarterbacks. Can
I guess who wrote this list? Was it CBS?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
This is on 3.
Oh. All right, so Nussmeier and
Manning are 1, 2.
Are off the list. I don't know who are the other 3.
Cade Klubnik is 3.
Okay.
Well, then 3, 4, 5 are all plus 1100.
Okay, I was like, I've already lost faith in this list then, but okay, go ahead.
Drew Aller.
I keep thinking he was leaving.
And Nico Iamaleava.
Yeah, that's. Who, listen, he's got some stuff to figure out, too, because that kind of fell apart in Nashville at the end of this
Jeremiah
season.
Smith is 6. That's plus 1,700.
Correct bet. What did you think of Notre Dame battling back into the game, though? I mean, obviously, they had a ton of faith in their quarterback, their transfer quarterback.
Yeah.
Riley Leonard coming in and running the football, and it just kind of felt like they leaned on Ohio State, and it started to work at the end. But he did a really good job throwing the football in the run as well.
I thought they did a tremendous job getting back into the game. the field goal attempt is the thing that
very
drove
head
me
scratching.
insane.
Yeah.
You're down potentially 2 scores, and kicking the field goal there keeps you down 2 scores. It does. I mean, yes, it makes it a more palatable 2-score deficit because you wouldn't have to get 2 2-point conversions.
Yeah, that was what Marcus Freeman said after the game, right? He said it felt like it was a lot easier to get 13 points instead of 16. So,
I mean, yeah, 14's easier than 16.
Yeah.
Like, sure. But the way the time was, it just didn't seem like, and then they missed it anyway. So it
Right.
was like, it was all irrelevant. But man, I don't know. I just felt like as many pass interference penalties as Ohio State was giving up at that point in the game, you throw it to the corner, you target, I forget the guy, number 1, their cornerback. I can't say his name right now. He had been awful in coverage all night long. Target him, throw it in the back corner of the end zone. You either catch it or maybe you get a pass interference call. Like, I don't know. It just felt like
analytics tell you that's the right idea anyway, right?
Such a weird decision to kick the field goal right there. That was the head scratcher for me. And then, when they got it back to within a score, and Ohio State had been playing super conservative up to that point, and then they throw the bomb down the field to Smith to essentially
after he had that catch in almost 20 minutes. Yeah. I was the field goal was head scratching to me, but the 2-point conversion that they set up on after the touchdown, though, like how they literally snuck Riley Leonard right up to the center, and you knew that everybody's eyes were going to be on him because the way they constructed that game plan and just opening up. I mean, they ran the double trick play, but they really could have thrown it on the first pitch too, because everybody was so centered on Riley Leonard that's where all of the eyes of the defense went. What did you make of Kirk Herbstreit's emotional response after the game?
I mean, he's an alum.
Yeah,
like he's an Ohio State alum.
He's so good at not giving that biased homerism out publicly when he's on broadcast. I don't think he does a really good job. I don't think he gets enough credit for it. And the fact that he literally got moved to tears, because clearly him and Ryan Day are really good friends.
Yep.
That he was that emotional about it, that he had to walk off screen. I thought that was a really cool moment. It seemed very, very real.
Oh, there's nothing fake about it at all. And like, I know Herbstreit gets a lot of flack from fans, but he's a tremendous analyst. He's so good. And just to your point, like, there are Ohio State fans that get on message boards and talk about how much Kirk Herbstreit hates Ohio State,
right?
Which like hammers home the point that he's not
very good.
He's not a homer,
yeah.
And he's really good at what he does. And I just felt like it was a real humanizing moment to see, like, oh, his alma mater just won the national title. He's not a total robot.
See, like, I don't even think it was necessarily his alma mater won the national title. I think his friend Ryan Day overcame all that he was going through after the multiple losses to Michigan, the way the season ended, all the backlash that he was facing. And he's really good friends with Brian Hartline, the wide receivers coach, as well. And I think it was he was just having an emotional moment for those guys. I don't even think it necessarily had anything to do with the fact that he played Ohio State, was a former player. I think it was his friends overcoming, and it just happened to be his alma mater.
Yeah, I think it's cool to see those things, right? Because as a broadcaster,
he gets paid not to show them.
I think, I've said this before, like, once you start calling games and you have to be truly neutral and like you start to shut down some of that fanhood part of your brain.
Yeah. It's tough though. It's tough sometimes.
It is tough. And
I famously got yelled at for clapping at the Sweet 16.
I've been on sort of both sides of it, right?
Ben, if you ever make it to the scorers table, do not celebrate. It's a big no-no.
No cheering in the press box. So I've been the home radio broadcaster for UNO women's basketball, which you're supposed to be a little bit of a homer. You are doing the home. You're broadcasting
somebody
for
should tell
that
John Bishop.
School. So that's a little different scenario. But then when you're doing like a television broadcast, you have to try and stay right down the middle. And in some ways that bleeds over into the rest of sports fandom, where it sort of shuts off the passion for a single team, right? Like, I am nowhere near the Husker homer that I used to be. Like, when growing up, I was a teenager.
He says that while wearing a Washington Commanders hat.
But growing up, while I was a teenager and even into early adulthood, like, I was Nebraska everything. Nebraska could do no wrong. it was the only thing and the best thing.
Well, I mean, that was kind of true for a while there, though. That's got a little bit to do with
and
it.
that starts to fall away a little bit when you have to neutralize yourself. So it was interesting to see that from Herb Street.
Speaking of people whose emotions came out, like how much differently do we look at Will Howard now compared to the end of that Oregon game? Because there was a lot of people, I think I even was like, do they move on? Do they need to look somewhere else? That quarterback room is too full for somebody to be making this level of mistake. They don't win that national championship without Will Howard as their quarterback.
They don't win the national championship without Will Howard as their quarterback. I don't know that that's entirely true. I don't know that I fully agree.
I think there are just the way he was, the decision making he made. I mean, he didn't, other than that one big boneheaded one at the end of that first Oregon game, he didn't make too many bad decisions in that game either. And the fact that they trusted him enough that they said, hey, we're going to give the illusion of zone read at the end of this game to ice it with this field goal at the end, but you do not give this ball up and you hold on to it. And it is the quarterback. He's the one touching the ball, so it makes it a little bit easier too. But we're going to put this ball in your hands to hang on to it and keep it safe, even though in the other biggest game of the year, you made a really bad decision. I think it says a lot about the trust in Will Howard and how much he grew as a player as well.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, I was a detractor. I didn't think it was.
You and I were detractors before the season.
Well, I just didn't think it was an upgrade over what they had.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I've changed my mind all that much on that. Like he played really well. Like Will Howard did good things for Ohio State. He did probably better things than I anticipated that he would do. I still don't know that with that receiving core and that defense,
if they may have underachieved,
like you might have been able to do the same thing with Kyle McCord.
No, I think I firmly believe in adding Quinshon Judkins to the equation clearly helps, but I think Will Howard's ability, to run the football opened up that offense more than it would have been with a non-mobile quarterback. Now, could you have done it with another mobile quarterback? Yeah, I'll hear that argument, and I probably would agree with you. But I don't know if you could have done it with Riley Leonard. I don't think
Riley Leonard can run. I think Riley Leonard's as good or maybe even better runner than
I don't
Will
think they're
Howard.
the same style runner, though. And I think the way Will Howard runs a little more protected, not necessarily one to risk it and can get you the yardage you need, but not really be that power between the tackles type runner. I don't think that opens that offense up.
I don't know. I'm just like the talent level at Ohio State is so high. Like it is ridiculously high.
Still lost 2 games.
And which is
it's pretty incredible to think about.
That might be an indictment on itself.
And I think they're overwhelmingly the best team.
From a talent perspective, yeah. I do. I am with you 100%. But I don't know, man. I just like I think there's other guys that you could plug into that spot and they would have maybe done the same thing. I don't think it's just one of one Will Howard.
We're going to get to the coaching carousel in a little bit later in the show, but I think maybe the most intriguing coach in the country is Brian Hartline. He's been a guy that's popped up on a lot of boards. He refuses to leave Columbus. It's going to be interesting to see what happens if he ever does, what it looks like afterwards. Hey, if you missed the opening segment, our thoughts on the national championship game, check it out at soundcloud.com/afterhours1620. It was brought to you by our friends at Allo Fiber. Allo Fiber doesn't just affect the internet in your house. I just had them come out and put the hotspot for my backyard in. It feeds right off of our modem. It goes out into our entire backyard. So when our friends are over and our kids have their friends around, cell phones are being used, everybody is able to use our Wi-Fi, not even just in our house. They can use it in the backyard. My speakers out there, that's picked up by it. It's got such great reach. You're not going to find a better outdoor experience than with Allo Fiber. Head over to allofiber.com and get your internet upgraded today. Derek Richards from Cunningham's Pub joins us next here on After Hours on 1620 Zone.
Hey, everybody. John Schreiner here for Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear. You like deals? How do you like clearance sales? Well, Jerry Ryan's got one going on right now. It's a huge clearance sale at the 78th and Dodge showroom right there in the middle of town. You can get 50 to 75% off suits and sport coats. Polo shirts and sweaters are 25 to 50% off. Hey, it's cold out there. I don't know if you've noticed. Warmed up a little bit today. Great day to wear a jacket. You need a new jacket? 25% off, Jerry Ryan. And it's going to look great. This isn't some big box store off-the-shelf boxy thing. No, this is a quality jacket that you are going to love, and it's going to make you look great. Don't go through the winter with bad clothes on your body. Get some good stuff. Get to Jerry Ryan. And as always, they got the Husker and Jays gear from Johnny O, Peter Millar, Cutter, and Buck. 78th and Dodge. Stop by. Tell John, Dan, Jake, Deanne, and Monier the Taylor that you heard about them on the After Hours Lounge. They're going to take good care of you because they've been dressing Omaha for over 50 years.
6:23 on a Wednesday edition of the After Hours Lounge, brought to you by Bellevue University. Keep up to date on all the championship action going on Bellevue's campus by downloading the BU Bruins app to your smartphone tonight. It is a Wing Wednesday. What does that mean for you? All you got to do is follow us on social media. Go follow Cunningham's Pub, and make sure you retweet or share the GIF of the wings we posted tonight on our socials. We went into a drawing to win a $25 gift card to one of Cunningham's two great locations. The owner and operator of Cunningham's Pub, Derek Richards, joins us now in studio. Derek, thanks for being here, man.
Yeah, thank you guys. Happy to be here.
Go ahead and pull that microphone up a little bit. It's got a little ED. Yeah, there you go. You might have to just hold it. Sorry. We didn't tell the new producer he's supposed to swing his microphone around for you. Sorry, that's our bad. You're fine. We'll make this work. You guys have adding some new ideas to the menu. You brought in a couple of them tonight. We got the garlic parmesan wings. Is it just because that's such a popular choice at other places you guys wanted to give it a try?
Yeah, we've had some people ask for it, and we're like, we need to change that. We change things up from time to time. The staff, everybody gets kind of bored doing the same stuff, so we got to mix it up every once in a while. And yeah, this is one of the most popular wings flavors I think right now. So we decided to give it a shot.
Well, I feel like we do this every time, but they're very good. They turned out excellent. We were just talking about being a homer, and I feel like I've become a homer for Cunningham's now because I've never told you that anything you've brought in was like average.
You can be honest. You won't hurt my feelings if you don't like it. It's fine.
I am one of the most honest people you'll ever meet. So if I don't like something, I'll tell you.
You guys. So what you guys don't experience is the behind the scenes. This is like version 3.0 of this sauce. So this one was a pain. I just was like, I was not getting what I wanted from the garlic parmesan. And I'm like, this is the one.
Yeah.
This was like the third batch.
Well, you were saying that it was hard to get that flavor to come out over top of the smoke with it, the way you smoke the wings.
Yeah. So the smokiness is, it's really in the when you
taste
powerful, the wings.
Yeah.
So the garlic parmesan seems a little more subtle. So it was like trying to force how do you get enough flavor to overpower the smoke? So, yeah, it took a couple go-rounds.
It's hard to put a new spin on something, but you've put a new spin on the classic cheeseburger. You got your special sauce that goes over the top of it. You guys...
What's in it?
Yeah, tell everybody right now. You guys obviously have a lot of creative minds in the kitchen at Cunningham's. This is your GM's invention, correct? The burger?
No, that was the wing sauce.
Wings. I'm sorry.
My kitchen manager came up with the other wing sauce that I can't remember if it's honey or mango. I'm sorry.
What was the thought process on kind of reinventing the wheel with a cheeseburger and adding a little something to it?
Honestly, we had some conversations with people are just going like crazy, like how much stuff can you stuff onto a burger?
And you said, hold my beer.
Yeah. I'm like, well, how about instead of doing that, what if we take stuff off and just make it taste like a cheeseburger?
It really does.
So we were going for like old school, it just is a hamburger you can taste the hamburger. It's well seasoned. We put onions on it, pickles, lettuce, and then the secret sauce.
Less is more.
That's it. Just make it taste good. We found this new patty we've been using from Greater Omaha, which is just right outside of town, locally sourced. All their beef's within like a couple 100 miles. So it's fantastic. I'm like, we have a few burgers that have some crazy ingredients on it, but I'm like, let's just do one that really shines the light on this patty.
That's what I love about all the burgers that you've brought to us. The patty tastes like the ones I make on my grill at home, which is like, obviously,
it's a rarity.
That's the way I like it, right? That's the way I cook it for myself. And you don't get that at most restaurants. It's like there's some crazy seasoning or they've marinated it in some way. And it's like, yeah, it's fine, but it doesn't taste like the ones I like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This burger tastes like something I would make, only better.
When I cook them at home, I use a very straightforward seasoning mix.
Yeah, I'm salt and pepper.
Work. I'm
salt and pepper.
Make it like a straightforward. We'll just make it. The most complicated thing is the secret sauce, which is not that complicated.
The Great Reuben debate is still going on in Blackstone. There are multiple participants. Do we know any of the results yet, or will we not see that till it's over?
No, not that I've seen.
Okay,
but I have voted so many times.
You can do so. We'll share out.
I'm kidding.
We'll actually share
just like the presidential election, right?
I'm not rigging this for myself.
Way to keep it to sports, buddy.
We can't go.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and share out We'll go ahead and share out the QR code right now, and you can make sure that you go vote in the Great Reuben debate in Blackstone. Please vote for Cunningham's. We'd appreciate it.
Yeah, we've had some very positive feedback.
There's a football game of great significance coming up in the next couple weeks on a Sunday. You guys are doing a big buffet for it. Can you tell people what they can expect from the Super Buffet?
It's super. It's a great buffet. We do it about every year at this similar time. We haven't done it for a couple of years. But yeah, it's all you can eat. $25 we go. We'll do 3 to 4 different wing sauces on there, a couple different types of like pinwheels, flatbreads. We do
bunch of finger foods.
Yeah. Well, and then there's some bigger stuff on there too. Like we do giant cinnamon rolls, smoked chili. We do half sandwiches of a couple of our most popular sandwiches. So we'll have a variety on there. It's a wide ranging buffet to put it mildly.
How many people can you fit?
I think the last time we did it, we were packed.
Wow.
And I forget how many people we had. Like I don't know. It's like 150 people showed up for it or something.
Now, are you doing this at both locations?
Both locations.
Both
so this
locations.
is the first time we've ever done it in Black. I mean, this is our first year in Blackstone to even get the chance. And then it's the first time we've done it in Old Mill in a couple of years.
Okay.
But we do a ton of private parties at both locations. So we are like doing buffets is just something we do every week. So this is
that surprising to most people? Because I think most people, when they think of a bar, they wouldn't think that's a possibility.
I don't know. Maybe we kind of got into it because we were our proximity to like TD.
Yeah, sure.
They were always having groups of like 40 or 50. So we're like, okay, we'll just do a lot of private parties, and that the whole buffet thing kind of grew out of that. And it's a lot of fun. The first few years, it was like a give back to all of our regulars. I think the first year we did it for it was not very. I mean, I don't think we made any money. Let's put it that way. But yeah, it's kind of a good way to give back to people that come in on Sundays and like, here, you can eat as many wings as you want and enjoy the football game. We always kind of pitched it as like, you don't want to have to deal with all the people at your house. So just come to
or clean up after those people.
Yeah, you don't have to clean up after them. You know, you can hang out and watch football.
What time does the buffet open?
5:00.
Okay, so if you're not doing anything around, I don't know, Sunday, February 9th, and you need somewhere to watch something on TV that's sports related, stop by Cunningham's at 5 o'clock. They will have the super buffet ready to go. Derek, as always, we appreciate you bringing all the good eats in. Sorry, our producer's Rudin didn't eat any of your food tonight. We will penalize him for that. That's Derek Richards, the owner and operator.
He's clearly a better. I mean,
and the new menu comes out.
We're shooting for Wednesday next week. It'll be on all of our social media.
Get yourself there and get that classic burger. It's amazing.
Get yourself over to our Twitter page, too, at After Hours 1620, or follow us on Facebook. Retweet the GIF of our wings tonight. Follow Cunningham's Pub and follow us. We will enter you into a drawing to win a $25 gift card. Maybe you can go enjoy that super buffet on us. It's Cunningham's Pub. 2 great locations underneath an Old Mill or down in the historic Blackstone District. Don't forget to vote on the Great Reuben debate, which we just shared out on all of our socials as well. Derek, we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Thanks, guys.
We'll be right back talking. We're going from one great sponsor to another. We're going to catch up with our friends from Big Brothers Big Sisters of the Midlands on the other side of the break here on 1620 The Zone. 6:36 on a Wednesday night edition of the After Hours Lounge, brought to you by Bellevue University. Head over to bellevue.edu. Register for classes. You can become a Bruin as early as this fall. No classes on Friday nights. You can do the majority of your schooling online. It's no better college experience than Bellevue University. One of our great sponsors is in studio with us. It's the folks from Big Brothers Big Sisters of the Midlands. Emma Beebe is here with Pat Bach, who's one of the bigs in the Big Brothers Big Sisters program. Pat, thanks for being here. Hey, let's try this again. Hey, Pat, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having
There we go. We're good. Talk to us about why you decided to become a mentor with the Big Brothers Big Sisters program, what it means to you.
Yeah, sure. So I was telling Emma here that when I originally came out here in 2004.
You're not from Omaha?
No,
okay.
From Denver. And so I moved out here for work, and I was here for a while, and then I was here for about 15 years and then moved away. Work relocated me, so I went to a few different states, and then finally got the opportunity to come back. And when I came back, like Omaha was still the same Omaha, but
Sure.
Everything had changed. Like all the people that I used to hang with, like
they got older.
Yeah, they started doing different things, having kids, got married, and so I just felt like I kind of lost like my spot where I just wasn't really sure like what I wanted to do. Yeah, it just didn't really feel the same. So fortunately, I had a boss, and I was kind of telling him this whole story and just kind of saying like, it's just weird, things just kind of feel different.
Can I ask, in hindsight, does it seem like something was missing?
A little, yeah.
Okay.
Like it just so like growing up in high school, we did a lot of volunteer stuff.
Sure.
And I think just, you get busy in life, and you kind of walk, just that kind of takes over. And I think you kind of forget that you, how much you can benefit from giving back to the community
and have a purpose.
And doing some different things. And fortunately, I was talking to my boss, and he said like, I used to be a big with Big Brothers Big Sisters, and would you, is that something that you think you'd enjoy? And I was like, yeah, that, and I just kind of felt, I don't want to say I felt stupid, but I'm like, man, like, yeah, of course. Like that would be a great program. I've heard about it before, but I've just never really put that together for like me. Why should I do that? Would I be good at it?
Right.
When he said it, he'd be like, you'd be
great. That's probably the biggest fear. It's like, you don't want to disappoint a kid. They're like, oh, you're my mentor.
And I can say that if I'm doing it and anybody, it's a great program. And it is really cool to see, just to build that bond with your little. Mm-hmm. And I think just the time that you put in, they're just happy that they get the opportunity to go out and experience some new things with somebody different.
What are some of those favorite things you like to do with your littles?
Yeah, that's a great question. So like originally we kind of started out small. It wasn't anything too crazy. We might go to like one of the local golf courses and just like do chipping and putting, or go hit the driving range.
Keep him off the golf cart though.
Yeah, my little liked golf, and he that was something that he was interested in, and I was like, yeah, man, let's go hit the small ball, and we'll just kind of have at it. And then the other good thing about Big Brothers Big Sisters is they have like so many good partnerships with other like companies,
with After Hours on 1620.
And like so they're so we're always trying to find opportunities to, there's tickets for all sorts of things that they're trying to, that they're handing out. So we've had the opportunity to go see the Supernovas. We checked out a Supernova match together, and Emilio really loved that.
By the way, the Novas will be back in studio with us in a couple weeks again when they get back from their away stint.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Sorry, I want to throw that out there.
No, it's all good. We really enjoyed having that, like, as an opportunity to hang out. And there's a lot going on with like the College World Series. There's a lot of things.
We're a big fan of that around here as well.
Yeah, no. So that was fun to experience.
What was something that you had maybe a misconception about, or thought about this process that maybe wasn't true or was different than you had originally expected?
So I think that one of the things was I was kind of nervous, like in the very beginning, that what I was going to do wasn't going to matter. And we kind of touched on that.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Like I was kind of like, okay, well, we're only going to hang out. The guidelines from Big Brothers Big Sisters is when you volunteer with your little, you go and do 2 activities or 2 meetups every month.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of said, well, if I'm only meeting up with my little twice a month, is that really going to be a meaningful amount of time if we're only spending a few hours every month?
And Emma, can you do more? Is that just the requirement? Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I didn't know if there was like a set time.
Mm-hmm. So I kind of thought, well, man, like, is that going to be enough? Is it
Mhm.
going to like,
Sure.
and yeah, but I, really that,
Because the biggest fear is disappointing the
yeah,
kid,
sure,
right?
absolutely. And then, but I think you find out really fast, like, no, the time that you spend is very meaningful, and they really enjoy it. So, um, it's been a really cool opportunity to get to experience some new things that I may not have otherwise experienced, and get to see the look on my little's face when we get.
I mean,
to do some
Supernova's
stuff
tickets
together.
aren't that expensive. No,
I don't think it was the ticket so much as the hot dogs. He
There you
loves
go.
the hot dogs. So.
Amen, brother.
Yeah, I think sometimes the things we don't talk about with mentorship enough are the impact on the mentor, right? We talk a lot about how it impacts the lives of the kids that are in the program and all the things you can do for them. But there's a big impact for you as well, right, Pat?
Yeah, absolutely. And so, and I'm glad you brought that up because, I think just like with any time when you're volunteering, you have the, just like kind of on the top item is, you're obviously going to feel, you feel good because
Sure.
you're going out and you're volunteering your time. But then like, it didn't take long for that, like there was a lot of other stuff too. Like I really love getting to know my little's family. And they're all, it's been great.
Probably brought
like,
you in, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like we visit together a lot. Sometimes I think he gets upset because I spend time talking to his parent. Yeah.
I think the last mentor we had it said the same thing too.
So
That's great though, because that just shows the impact you're having on their lives as well.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. Like you get that support network, and it's really cool too, just from the side of like there's all the other bigs out there, and there's a bunch of events for bigs to get together, and so it's another community inside of the community to get to hang out with other like-minded folks that like to give back. So just from my perspective, it's been great just to get an opportunity to be impacted and make an impact.
We're catching up with Emma Beebe and Pat Bach here of Big Brothers Big Sisters from the Midlands. And Emma, I've got to ask you because last time you were here, it was a big drive to get to 60 male volunteers. We hit the mark. What's the barrier now? What are we trying to get to, and how many littles are available in Omaha?
Absolutely. So right now on our wait list, we have over 90 youth on our wait list waiting for a mentor. Again, most of those youth, about 73%, are littles who are boys who are waiting for a male mentor. Our big push right now is January is National Mentoring Month. So it's a great month to get involved and join us at Big Brothers Big Sisters.
Well, Pat, thanks for your time. Emma, we always appreciate when you come in. This is number 5, and it feels like we always learn something from a mentor that comes in. You can get involved at Big Brothers Big Sisters, themidlands.com. Become a mentor today. It is National Mentor Month, like Emma just mentioned. We'll be right back. Matt Rule has kept some receipts for some people that took some shots at him in the offseason. We're going to tell you who that is when we come back here on 1620 Zone. Hey everybody, it's Jimmy Allen here for Pepper Jack's Grill. 10 great locations throughout the Omaha area. Pepper Jack's is ever growing as well. So is their menu. So many great options. I personally, my favorite, the steak rice bowl, onions, mushrooms, green peppers over the top of it. Spicy ranch to top it off. It's so good it should be illegal to sell. Stop by one of your favorite 10 Pepper Jack's locations tonight and grab dinner. Nailed it.
Way to go, Ben.
6:49 on a Wednesday night here on 1620 The Zone, brought to you by Bellevue University. Download the BU Bruins app to your smartphone to keep up to date on all the championship action happening on Bellevue University's campus. That was
University's campity.
Yep. My mind is on Dan Campinen, who's not here tonight because Ben Geezer is.
It's the Geese.
My favorite producer, your favorite producer, everybody's favorite producer. Ben Geezer has the social media soundbite for us. Matt Rule left this one in his back pocket till the end of the season. Go ahead, Ben. All right, good cut it right there, Ben. The fact that Matt Rule actually tweeted this out.
Yeah. I wonder who
is
made
the
the video for him.
Best part of it. I hope he did it. I hope he downloaded Adobe Pro and started watching YouTube videos on how to make videos work together. Yeah, this was absolutely fantastic.
Doing video editing tutorials.
It's the off season. I mean, he's down in Miami right now. He probably ain't got much else better to do.
That's great.
Listen, this is kind of this is kind of what makes college football fun, right? Like in a day and age where it's kind of hard to find rivals and make games count when you're the Cows of the world playing in the ACC or Nebraska, who doesn't have Oklahoma or Colorado traditionally on their schedule anymore. Like this is why people are so passionate about this, because people care. And it's kind of hard to say that Matt Rule didn't call a shot for the conference at the beginning of the season too.
And it was so out of line for Feinbaum to say what he said.
It was a slow news day.
Matt Rule was not talking about Nebraska. He was not talking about himself. He was talking about the conference as a whole and how tough it is to win in the Big Ten. And Feinbaum told him to stay in his lane and shut up.
Yeah.
Like, dude, he wasn't talking about him. And that's how you took it.
And also said nothing but positive things about the SEC immediately following that comment. And
yeah.
Paul Feinbaum, you don't actually belong to anybody in the SEC either.
This is again why like the talking head shows on the big sports networks are so they're just so cringeworthy, because they do this all the time. They take something and then build a straw man case against it that someone said, and it's like, that's not even what anyone was talking about, man. Chill. But they have to find some way to make it inflammatory, or they think they do. And actually, I think there's a growing contingent of sports fans who don't want to hear this crap anymore. Like, we're just over it.
I think there was a lot of SEC chest beaters out there that when Michigan won the national championship, took to their keyboard warrior platform and said, this is a flash in the pan. We'll be back. It was an up year for the Pac-12. Kirby Smart still at Georgia at that time. Nick Saban was still at Alabama. And it's still the SEC.
Well, they had
and now they're eating a little bit of crow.
They had 7 in the final top 25. So the SEC is still really good. Like, we're not burying the SEC.
But when you set the bar as the premier conference in the country, and you've made it more about the game,
top to bottom, they still might be.
But when you've made it more about your conference, when Florida is celebrating Georgia winning a national championship because it's the SEC, you've now put all of your chips in on a national title or bust for your entire conference. And that's what the Paul Feinbaums of the world have done. It's really what he's made his money off of and why he's become so popular, because he's put the SEC out in front of everybody. And it's what he makes his hay off.
Well, I mean, I can remember it's probably been a decade ago now, but Colin Cowherd saying that a cold weather school will never win another national title.
He said other than Ohio State, but yeah, you're right.
We just had Notre Dame and Ohio State in the college football playoff championship game.
Like, and Texas being the only warm weather school in the Final Four.
Right. So, I mean, don't be a prisoner of the moment. Don't get captivated by what you just saw, because
which
things can change overnight.
Which makes what I'm going to ask you next kind of on that volition, because I think a lot of people are looking at NIL and saying this is the great equalizer. NIL is what makes the Big Ten able to compete with the SEC? There's no way it's that simple, right? Because I also think the Big Ten has done a really good job of hiring well-rounded coaches throughout the entire conference too. I think it's more that than anything else.
There's a lot of factors there, and to no small part is the fan bases that the Big Ten has added to their lineup are huge and ravenous and put their eyeballs on the television when those teams play.
Helps.
So that increases your television revenue, which in turn allows the member schools to increase the amount of attention and facilities they build and coaches and, spending on all things relating to the football program. So there's a whole lot that's leveled the playing field over the last 10 to 15 years between the two conferences.
Makes you wonder why the hell they added Rutgers and Maryland, doesn't it?
I mean, so it does, but for TV markets, even though those teams may not be getting a ton of eyeballs on them, it's the markets that they're in. Like Rutgers is considered to be part of the New York TV market. People from New York don't watch them.
Yeah, by somebody.
But regionally, you get the ad dollars from that region. Maryland is in the DC Beltway. You get that TV market, like Baltimore, DC, that area. So,
but you also get that product on the field.
you get a bad product, but it's all part of adding to your conference revenues, which makes a greater disbursement, which means more facilities and more spending.
That was the social media soundbite courtesy of Ben Geezer tonight. If you missed it, check it out, soundcloud.com/afterhours1620. It was brought to you by our friends at Pixel Fire Marketing. Are you the decision maker in your company? Google your business right now. Do you like what you see? Does your company even come up? If it doesn't, or if it's not, you need to check out pixelfiremarketing.com tonight. They can help you ignite your social media presence, entice your ideal client, and engage your brand online. Check out pixelfiremarketing.com for more details today. We'll be right back. Buying or selling? The other side of the break here on 1620 The Zone. Hey, everybody, it's Jimmy Allen here for AX Plumbing. I've been telling you for a while how much AX Plumbing has helped me out personally at my house, at my business. They helped clean out a urinal, and they installed one for me. They fixed the wax ring underneath the toilet in our upstairs bathroom. And just over the Christmas break, they got our neighbors across the street taken care of. The day after Christmas, they came out, replaced the water heater in their house, and got them a brand new water heater that same day. Check out axpservice.com if you're struggling with any of those issues. If you don't have the financing available, there's also financing available with Nick on the website as well. Check out axpservice.com. They'll leave your home or business cleaner than they found it. So good. So good. Running Hey, it's the After Hours Lounge, brought to you by Pyramid Contractors. Over a decade of being the number one roofer in Omaha doesn't happen by accident. Head over to pyramidroof.com and book a free estimate today. They can replace your windows, your gutters, your siding, your roof. They do it all. You never have to settle for less at pyramidroof.com. Ben Gieser
Hello, everybody.
is in for Dan Campinen tonight. And
Yes.
he has been chomping at the bit to get all of his sports knowledge off of his chest and pick our brain about it.
New year, new me. So many hot takes I have.
Let's go,
Are
Ben.
you ready? All right. The Detroit Lions have now lost their offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson, and defensive coordinator, Aaron Glenn, to the Bears and Jets, respectively. Buy or sell, there should be a natural regression from the Lions next season.
I don't mean to have recency bias affect my sports opinion. I just think Dan Campbell's that dude. I think they have some questions at the quarterback position long term. I don't think Jared Goff is got a lot left in the tank. And what are they going to do there? Do they want to move on quickly? I think that would affect the Lions a little bit more than the coaching situation next season if Jared Goff were to decide to hang it up. He's not quite Matt Stafford old, but he's pretty close.
30.
Is he? I thought he's 34.
He's 30.
Yeah, he still looks a little long in the tooth. I mean, would you be surprised if Jared Goff is in Detroit longer than 3 years?
Nope.
I mean, they keep drafting quarterbacks, so it kind of feels like they don't love that marriage either. And I think Jared Goff has played a lot better in the last 2 seasons than maybe even they thought he would. But
They got him for a pack of Skittles.
yeah, that also helps his situation. But I think Dan Campbell is a good enough coach and is going to put people around him that they're just going to be plug and play next year. I don't know if they'll be the number one seed in the NFC, but I think they'll have similar success.
So you changed your initial opinion.
I
on
did,
this.
yeah.
I don't think there's well, it's going to be hard not to regress from what they did in the regular season.
Sure. But I mean,
That was historically good.
what does regress mean though? Like from a regression standpoint, when I think regress, I think miss the playoffs. I mean, I don't think if you're the number 1 seed to the number 3 seed, that's a giant regression by any stretch of the imagination.
I still think that they are in pole position to win that division next year.
Agreed.
And potentially be the 1 seed again. So no, I don't see. And
But
look,
I mean, just for argument's sake, if they're the 2 seed, you're not saying they're regressing, right?
no,
Okay.
not at all.
Just want to make sure we're lockstep on that side.
And honestly, I think they've got a chance to be even better next
Yeah.
season because of the amount of injuries they had on the
And
defensive
they get
side of
almost
the ball.
everybody back.
Like you throw Aiden Hutchinson on that team, like just him, they might still be playing football.
Ben, what do you think? Lions going to be all right?
Yeah, they can survive the cold. They're in the cold.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
yes.
Detroit's cold, famously.
They could be
They-
famously cold.
They play indoors, though.
Right, but they're used to the hard
The
weather
hard
in
winters.
Detroit. That's the first thought people have in Detroit. Anyways, they're fine. They'll be great.
Really quickly, though, I do think it's very odd that the Jets moved on to another defensive-minded head coach, though. Find that very strange. Go ahead.
Very strange. The 2025 Major League Baseball class has been introduced. Ichiro Suzuki, my favorite name in history, was 1 vote shy of becoming the second ever unanimous. I went to school for English. Selection behind Mariano. Don't call me Salmon Rivera. Buy or sell, these votes need to be made public so we can publicly shame these people who don't vote correctly.
This needs to be a public vote. If you're going to be the guy, let me tell you what happens. Ben, I know you know this. I'm going to explain this to John.
Yes.
Let me tell you what happens in these situations. People don't actually vote and submit their ballot, and then don't want to admit it doesn't happen. So when guys like Derek Jeter and Ichiro Suzuki, well, the guy that didn't vote for Jeter came out publicly, but this happens all the time. And guys that probably should be unanimous picks just get an entire ballot doesn't get turned in; they get left off, and that's why we're missing 1 vote here, 2 votes there. And we need to hold those people accountable.
If you have a vote for the Hall of Fame, why are you not submitting it? Like,
It's a great question.
I think if you honestly,
Baseball has admitted it that it happens a lot.
if you fail to submit your ballot, you don't get a ballot
Thank you.
anymore. Like, honestly,
That's how it should work. I agree.
You're
You
out.
have to do it 1 time a year.
You're
folks.
out now. Like this is like the easiest thing you have to do. Honestly, if you're a baseball writer, you write about baseball. You have a ballot for the Hall of Fame and you don't turn it in.
And all you have to do is write about it.
And if you're protesting in some way, then just turn it in blank. but turn it in.
Yeah, or write no for the person that you don't want to
Right.
get in. Ben, I can tell you're getting upset about this and you're passionate about baseball, so we're going to go ahead and move on. If you aspire to sell tonight, check it out at soundcloud.com/afterhours1620. It was brought to you by our friends at Controlled Comfort Heating and Air. John just pointed out and Ben just pointed out, winter is harsh. It can be cold. It's not necessarily Detroit cold. It's cold in Omaha, and you don't have to be cold inside. Head over to controlledcomfort.com. Have your maintenance done on your HVAC unit. It'll take a look at your furnace, make sure it's working properly for the wintertime. Make sure the warm months didn't take too harsh of a toll on your AC unit as well. We will be right back, grading the coaches in their first year of college football when we come back at 1620 Zone.
Hey, everybody. John Schreiner here for Bob at Williams Law. You know, legal situations, nobody wants to deal with them, but it's only something you can put off for so long. Eventually, you're going to have to deal with that thing, whatever it is. You got a criminal charge, you got a civil situation, you need to get that taken care of. And the guy you need in your corner is Bob Williams. Bob comes in and talks to us about all the pressing legal matters in the world of sports. We trust him to do that because he has a great legal mind and a great understanding of the law. But he doesn't have to only be a great legal mind on the radio. He can be a great legal mind for you. Give him a call at 402-522-6317. If you want great representation, if you've got questions, maybe you don't even understand the situation that you're facing, Bob's going to get that all sorted out in a free, no obligation legal consultation. He's going to sit down with you, walk you through the process, explain your rights, tell you all the ins and outs of the process, and give you the way in which he would represent you given your specific legal situation. Give him a call at 402-522-6317. Get yourself that no obligation legal consultation. Do yourself the favor and check him out at williamslawllc.com.
7:13 on a Wednesday edition of the After Hours Lounge, brought to you by Pyramid Contractors. Head over to pyramidroof.com and book yourself a free estimate for your windows, your gutters, your siding, your roof. They can do it all. Check out pyramidroof.com tonight. We have technically 15 coaches that were in their first year of coaching at their respective school in college football. I left David Braun off this list out of Northwestern because I feel like he's been there for 2 years. It's not really his first year. So
Yeah.
I just erase. But what we're going to do is we're going to go through all of those 14 guys and grade them on an A to F scale. Like right now, Ben Geezer's operating like a C- for producing the show tonight. So
You're so mean.
we're going to grade it around that curve. But we'll start in L.A., where UCLA is located.
Is that where they are?
I don't know if anybody knows that, but Deshaun Foster made sure we did at the beginning of the season. They finished 5-7. Key wins over Nebraska and Iowa, but finished 12th in the Big Ten, tied with Michigan State, Nebraska, and Wisconsin in that spot. They were 8-5 a year ago and finished 4-5 and played tied for the 6th in the Pac-12. After his introductory presser, I think a lot of people were very concerned about Deshaun Foster, as we just alluded to. His midseason run, I think, gave a lot of people hope, though. ESPN gave him a B as a hire. There was a regression in the win column. The beginning of the season was a mess. They started 1-5, but a really tough schedule. Played Penn State close down the stretch. I give him a C+ because I think if you show me progress at the end of it, I think it's good, but overall record has to matter.
Yeah, and I went a little higher because I think I'm grading on a curve here based on what my expectations at the start of the season were.
Good point.
And he was like, and for that, like, if you are right on with where I expected you to be, you should be a C at UCLA. He was a little better than I expected. So it's a B- for me for Deshaun Foster. Because I think they were not good at the beginning of the year. They were awful.
Yeah, they made a big jump, specifically.
And they got better as the season went on. So I like that kind of improvement throughout the season shows me that there was some good coaching going on there.
You think he's going to be fine at UCLA?
I don't know that he's going to be fine. I think he'll be serviceable.
Yeah, I do too. Boston College, I think, got a really good steal because of where they hired. Coming into the job, Bill O'Brien was really late in the process, so I give him a little bit of a bump in a grade here just because I didn't really have high expectations because I thought there was going to be a little bit of a curve there. But they started season 4-1. And coming into late in the game, still finished the regular season 7-5, winning 3 of his last 4. He beat Florida State and Syracuse, but lost to everyone really of note: Missouri, SMU, and Louisville on the schedule. ESPN gives him an A-. I think I'm going to give him a B- here. They finished tied for 7th in the ACC, finished with the same record as a year ago, and they probably would be a C- if he wasn't so late into the game. But how they started and the fact that they were kind of behind the curve getting their coaching staff in there, I give them a little bump.
Yeah, and I think I also went B- here. I think after they beat FSU, everyone's ears kind of perked up a little bit.
And then everybody else beat FSU.
And then everyone else except one team beat FSU this season. So early in the season, it would have been like A++, right?
Right.
Because Boston College, not known for recent football success. The way they finished, though, was tough. And then the situation with Thomas Castellanos leaving the team and like that just has bad vibes around it. So
they finished their season losing to a team that has won a bowl game in 7 years.
I just some of the vibes at the end of the year didn't make me feel great about it. It probably would have been around a B+ for me, but I went B-.
Michigan hired themselves a head coach in the offseason as well. He's already on the staff. But they hired Sharon Moore, and it was going to be impossible to replace Harbaugh 1-1, right? But he comes in, and he wins 4 of his first 5 games. The Washington loss doesn't look great, but you rebound and beat Ohio State at the end of the season. You go 8-5 after winning a national championship. ESPN gave him a B-. I think that's spot on. Without the Ohio State win, I might have him at a C-, but I think with that win and the way they were able to get better as the season went on, he clearly learned along the way. I'm going to give him a B- as well.
Here's where we strongly disagree.
Okay,
it's a D+ for me.
Wow,
you took a team that won a national championship and then you lost 5 games with that team.
They lost a lot of talent off that team, though, too.
Jimmy, if you look at the big board from Mel Kiper, they have 3 top 15 draft picks on that team.
Okay.
That's not a roster that's devoid of talent.
Replaced your quarterback, lost your top 2 leading rushers, lost your your top 2 wide receivers. It's a lot to replace.
It's a lot to replace.
Did all that and still won 8 games, beat Ohio State?
But you're Michigan and you lost 5 games. It's a D+.
Brady Hoke era esque of a schedule.
And if they don't beat Ohio State at the end of the year, it's a D-.
Okay. I'll give you that. I still would have it as C- just because I think they got better, and I think that matters. Going from one legend to another, replacing Nick Saban. Alabama hired Kalen DeBoer, and Alabama goes 9-4. In most places, that's an A-plus style schedule, not in Tuscaloosa. Alabama won 12 games a year ago. They won the SEC a year ago. They made the college football playoff a year ago. It's never going to be easy replacing Saban, but you can't lose to Vanderbilt in this version of Oklahoma, which Alabama did this season. ESPN gave a C-. I think I kind of agree with the four-letter network. I think it's C-, D+ range.
Yeah, slightly higher for me. I went C+. Just for the reason that you laid out. Like, you're replacing Nick Saban. It's always going to be tough. He was a longtime head coach. And again, it's a roster that's laden with talent. And I could say the same thing I said about Michigan. This is a team that should be contending for the national title based on their talent level, right? 9 wins usually is going to get you a B in most places.
Should.
For Alabama, it's in the C+ range.
Agreed. I totally forgot who Arizona hired as their coach.
Brent Brennan from San Jose State.
I remembered when I knew Jed Fish left, but I could not remember who the hell they hired. It was Brent Brennan from San Jose State. When you return a quarterback like Noah Fafita and you bring back the offensive talent around him,
Hetero McMillan.
Yeah, probably one of the best wide receivers in the country 2 years ago. You raise expectations around that coach. But this was their first year in the Big 12. But you can't finish 2-7 in conference play and go 4-8 overall with that level of talent. Arizona 10-3 win team under Jed Fish. They finished third in a loaded Pac-12. ESPN gave Brennan a D-. I'm going all in with the F here. I like when you have a quarterback of the talent level of Noah Fafita and you can't win more than 2 conference games, that comes to coaching, in my opinion.
Yeah, I went straight D. And
I'm 8 years old. Sorry.
It's for the simple fact that I don't think Brent Brennan's that good of a coach.
Sure.
Like he did worse than I think he should have, but honestly, like it's not an F because he's not a top line coach at a top line school. Like Arizona's a mid-tier Power 5 school.
It's a team that finished third in the Pac-12 the year before.
Yeah, that's cool.
Which was a much better conference than the Big 12 this year. And he won 2 games.
I understand all of that. I still think it's like Brent Brennan, he's a C+ coach. He did worse than expected. It's a D.
Ben, what is the first letter in Figueroa?
F.
Thank you. Jed Fish is the new coach at Washington coming over from Arizona. He brings all the excitement we just talked about at Arizona with him, but he has to replace Michael Penix Jr. He can't convince his quarterback, Noah Fafita, to follow him to Washington from Arizona. First year in new conference. They go 6-7 after appearing in the national championship game. They beat Michigan and USC, but lost to Washington State and Iowa. They played a really brutal schedule. They got better as the season went on. I think ESPN gave Jed Fish a C+. I'm going to give him a B+. I think the way that Washington had to reload this season, and he didn't necessarily get the Curt Cignetti bump with all the talent following. He got a lot, but not all the talent following him from Arizona to Washington. I give him a B+.
I went with a C here. I think the roster was so decimated after DeBoer left that it would have been hard to do a lot better. So this is kind of right on where I expected them to be, which is a C grade. Like that's average. That's exactly what you expect. You get a C for doing what was expected.
Mike Elko goes to Texas A&M, and there was a lot a lot of people thought Mike Elko could walk into College Station and really turn it around day one. It looked great out of the gate. You lose to Notre Dame. That obviously looks a lot better at the end of the season than it may have at the beginning. Then you rip off 7 straight. And I thought maybe Mike Elko does have the magic touch and he can get it figured out. But then you lose to South Carolina and Auburn. No shame in losing to Texas, but it was the first time they came to the SEC. And that one had a lot of connotations around it. But that rounds out the season. Then you lose to USC in the bowl game. I didn't really have as high as expectations as most people did about Mike Elko. I think he overachieved to some degree. It was a B-, but I think at Texas A&M, it's got to be better than that. So I gave him a C.
I went B+ here.
Okay.
I just feel like Texas A&M has had a bad culture for so long.
Thanks, Jimbo.
They always have such high expectations and fall flat on their face. This was not a faceplant by Texas A&M this season. This was, I think, a better version. It was almost
a faceplant, but they caught themselves and picked themselves back.
Yeah. This is a better version of a Texas A&M than we saw in the past couple of years. So I think it's a B+. Plus.
Texas A&M's former coach, his name is Jimbo Fisher. I wasn't thanking myself there, Ben.
It's a great nickname for yourself if you want to go for it.
Mike Elko leaves the job open at Duke, and Manny Diaz fills. I had zero expectations for Manny Diaz at Duke. Duke wanted a defensive guy for whatever reason, and they got him. A year ago under Mike Elko, they went 8-5 and 4-4 in the ACC. This season, they go 9-4. Now, if you're Manny Diaz and you've set the bar pretty high for yourself in year one, you beat North Carolina, Wake Forest, and NC State all in the same year, and two of the three on the road. ESPN gave him an A. I give him an A+ in year one. I know they didn't make the playoff or anything like that, but for what expectations were and the fact that it's Duke and you got to 9 wins, I give him an A+.
Yeah, I went just an A here. I think that like Duke football has kind of risen a little bit. Like the bar's been raised for Duke a little bit. I mean, the quarterback that they just lost played for the national championship.
Right. And he still won 9 games.
Right. So again, just like you, I don't think Manny Diaz is a very good coach coming into the season. I didn't think they had any shot. I was very suspicious
I think
of the
before
hire.
the season, I predicted them to miss a bowl game. I didn't think they'd go 6-6.
And 9 wins is really good for Duke. That's good.
One of the hottest names in all of coaching for a couple seasons was Willie Fritz when he was at Tulane. He takes over at Houston. A little bit of a dumpster fire left behind by Dana Holgorsen. Hopefully that doesn't fall into Lincoln. Had a lot of hype behind him. A lot of schools wanted to take him out of Tulane's pocket, but Houston goes 4-8 a year ago, made no progress this season. Another 4-8 campaign. Your wins come against Rice, TCU, Utah, and K-State. TCU and Utah beat up when you get those wins in there. You lost to a really bad Arizona team, which we just highlighted, and got blown out. You got shut out twice this season. I think there was some progress at a decent point or a decent tick at the midpoint of the season, but bad losses. I think there was improvement as the season went along, but not clearly enough to give them a very good grade. ESPN gave him a D. I gave him a C-.
Yeah, I also said C- here. Houston's invested a lot of money in their football program. They're really trying to run with the big boys and raise their cachet. This was below what I expected when Willie Fritz took the job.
Yeah, they're running with cement shoes on. Right now.
I think he's a good coach. I love what he did at Tulane, but this was not good enough. This has to be better. So it's slightly below what I expected, which is a C-.
He looked lost at times on the sideline too. There's some not so flattering photographs of him on the sideline this year. We go to Indiana and John's boy Curt Cignetti. Indiana was 3-9 a year ago. They won 1 Big Ten game. That's not good, in case you're wondering, Ben. Curt Cignetti got that to a college football playoff appearance in his first season. 11-2, had a tiebreaker situation to even get to the Big Ten title game. ESPN gives him an A. I gave him an A+. I don't think you could do better than what Curt Cignetti did in year one.
I mean, my disdain for Curt Cignetti, but
C-.
I also have to be honest. This is an A. It's an A performance for this coaching staff. And
just an A?
Yeah, I think it's based on the schedule, right? Like their schedule broke incredibly favorably for them. And an A+ would have been blowing out everyone on the schedule as they did for the most part, and then winning a college football playoff game. That's an A+ to me.
Just go in all for the bit.
It's an A.
Go all in for the bit and give him a C.
It's an A.
Jeff Lebby.
It's a great coaching job. He did fabulous with that roster.
Make sure we save that drop. Jeff Lebby was a guy that a lot of people questioned getting hired at Mississippi State. He was thought to be the mind behind Dylan Gabriel, and a lot of people wonder if that was fool's gold. He was thought to be the mind behind Lane Kiffin's offense. A lot of people were wondering if that was fool's gold. They finished third in the SEC, only ahead offensively. They finished third to last in the SEC, only ahead of Oklahoma, Kentucky, and Vanderbilt. The only wins this season coming against Eastern Kentucky and UMass. Famously, none of those teams play in the SEC. They won 5 games a year ago, so they regressed down to 2 games. ESPN gave him a D-. I'm going to give him just a D, just because I think it's hard to win in Starkville. I think Jeff Lebby can figure out this offense at least. Does that mean he's going to be able to win any games in the SEC? I don't know. I don't know if I'm willing to give it an overall F. The one thing that's not going to help him, though, is Chris Jans and the men's basketball team doing so well, and the fact that that's going to be a hot commodity name in men's college basketball this offseason might speed things up for him in Starkville. I didn't like the hire then. I think he underachieved in year one.
You finished last in the SEC
with 0 wins,
with 0 conference wins. Jimmy, this is an F. This is an F performance.
They beat UMass.
I understand that the expectations for Mississippi State football from the outside are not high.
Remember when they fired Dan Mullen?
But
seems like a bad idea these days.
I almost don't even care what school you're coaching for. If you win no games in your conference and you go 2-10, you get an F for the season. Like that's just how it goes. This was a bad football team.
They got riddled by the transfer portal. He struggled to get talent in there, and that's again back to coaching. But I think he just took over a really bad situation. I didn't like the hire then. I don't like it now. I'm not willing to give him an F just because of what he inherited.
They lost to Toledo 41-17.
Didn't Toledo win the MAC?
I don't care.
Jonathan Smith takes over at Michigan State. We're not going to give this guy an F, but he's flirting with disaster a little bit. Take over the Mel Tucker situation. Not great spot to be in. The team a year ago was 4-8 and 2-7 in Big Ten play. They win one more this year. They beat Maryland, Iowa, and Purdue. You played Ohio State and Oregon and Indiana and Illinois. A murderer's row schedule. Not a great year, but progress along the year. ESPN gave him a C-. I'm going to give him a C+.
Straight C. Just kind of what you'd expect from Michigan State at this point. This is a mid to lower tier Big Ten team. I think that they overachieved for several years, and now this is what Michigan State is.
Really quickly, because we got to get to Brian Munson. Trent Bray at Oregon State, I gave him a C-. I think that tough situation. Technically the Pac-12 champs because they beat Washington State, but not a great year. So I give him a C-.
It's a D-. You played a Mountain West schedule. You should have won more games.
Fran Brown at Syracuse, I gave him an A+. I think he did great work. I think getting Kyle McCord to come to Syracuse was a big part of him doing that. They went 10-3 and 5-3 in the ACC. The only losses they had, Kyle McCord threw multiple picks in.
A. It's an A. I like what Syracuse did. I think Fran Brown has that program trending upward.
We got to get to Brian Munson from Husker Online. We'll get his thoughts on Nebraska's football recruiting process. What did he think about Matt Rule's shot at Paul Feinbaum? We'll ask him all of that on the other side of the break. If you missed this segment, check it out at SoundCloud.com/After Hours 1620 was brought to you by Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear. Jerry Ryan is the premier suit buying experience in the Midwest. They have all the options you need: sports coats, slacks, ties, golf polos, you name it, Jerry Ryan has it. Stop by 78th and Dodge and be the best dressed guy at your big event that you have coming up. The Outland Trophy was tonight. You could have stopped by Jerry Ryan and grabbed a suit and tie for that. Maybe you want to go to the Jet Award. You could stop by and be the best dressed guy at the Jet Award by stopping by Jerry Ryan. 78th and Dodge. Stop by and tell John, Deanne, and Monier the Taylor that the After Hours Lounge sent you. We'll be right back with Brian Munson from Husker Online and On 3 here on 1620 The Zone.
Hey everybody, John here for Pepper Jack's Grill. You know what hits the spot almost every single time? It's a Philly cheesesteak. Yep, that's right. A cheesesteak from Pepper Jack's. You need to get yourself one of those tonight. Head on down to one of their 10 great locations. Get you a cheesesteak. Hey, maybe you're a little extra hungry. Maybe you need a gunner. Double up that meat. Double up the cheese. Add some jalapenos, jalapeno juice, and green peppers, and it will be fantastic. You want to cut the carbs? Go with a rice bowl or a burrito or a salad. Anything you want. Plus, you got to get yourself some of the fries, and don't sleep on the chips and queso. It's all really good. Pro tip, if you get the rice bowl, have them add the queso in there. It is fabulous. Everything at Pepper Jack's, all 10 locations, always hits the spot. Get yourself some Pepper Jack's tonight.
7:36 on a Wing Wednesday edition of the After Hours Lounge, brought to you by Pyramid Contractors. Head over to pyramidroof.com. Get your windows, your gutters, your roof, your siding replaced. They can do it all. Check out pyramidroof.com tonight. Our good friend Brian Munson from Husker Online and On 3 now joins us. B. Muntz, good evening, sir.
What's up, boys?
How you feeling, man?
You're asking me that like I should know something or be anticipating something.
Are you not anticipating this Sunday evening?
Well, I'd be lying to you if I wasn't.
So let's try this again. How you feeling, man?
Better if we weren't going to Kansas City.
Okay.
I think that's probably a fair answer, right?
We usually leave the Bills talk for the end. I figure we'll get your anxiety out of the way early.
No, I think everything's. I don't think Buffalo could be healthier. I mean, I don't think they could be in a better situation than what they are right now. I mean, they're wearing the icy whites. It'll be the last, last game of basically of the season. For one of those two teams that have had a great year, and I'm looking forward to it. I honestly felt like I liked Buffalo's chances probably better this year than I did 2 years ago. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, it's going to come down to just kind of keeping Mahomes, I think, in the pocket. But I think they did a pretty good job of it the first time, and they didn't have Milano. So we'll see how that works out.
You love the YouTube chat right now.
Oh yeah, what's going on
I've
with
put
that?
my prediction in. The YouTube stream is talking Bills Chiefs, and I have my prediction in. I think it's a runaway. I think that the Bills are going to smash them.
Oh, don't do this to me! Don't. I mean, no.
Hey.
Seriously. I think the Chiefs are playing some pretty top-notch ball right now. So it's gonna be a fun game to watch.
Of the 5 people who have weighed in on the YouTube chat, 4 of them have taken the Bills, including John Schreiner.
Hey, we're in a situation here, B, and I thought there was no way we would be here where your team and my team could be playing each other in the Super Bowl.
Oh, you a Rams guy?
No, Washington Commanders.
You're a Commanders guy. Okay, right. So I love the Jaden Daniels story and what he's done for that team, and he is so much fun to watch. And I tell you what, it goes hand in hand with what I talked about this morning in 3 and Out, doesn't it? With the mobility of the quarterback being an X factor. I mean, it is absolutely that one thing that at any one moment can pop, and it can be ad-lib, it can be designed, it can be, so many different things. But, I think that what's interesting about quarterback mobility is that you don't need to be Heinrich Haarberg and run 22 miles an hour. You can just be choosy and picky and know what spots, where it makes sense for you to, down in distance and field position, and know kind of where things are going to be based on film study, to where you can go get 3 yards and set up 3rd and short or 3rd and manageable. It's one of those really great things. I think that you can just be smart and know how to do it. And if you can flip, I think what, has happened so far, with Gillimer and Lincoln, you can just be positive on that side of the house. I mean, on the stat line every single week. It'll change a lot of things, I think, when it comes to the outcomes of the game, just how things set up offensively and how the defenses had to account for that. It can really change a lot, I think.
And just look at the 4 quarterbacks that are left in the NFL right now. And all of them are that guy who are like, they're athletic, sure, and they're willing runners, but they're not like the super athlete quarterbacks, right? They're all very good at being smart about when they run the ball.
I completely agree. And I think that, there's a discipline to it, right? Because you can get really willy-nilly with it. And you can just go out there and just be that guy that's just gonna go ahead and take off every single time. And that is the detriment downside to quarterback mobility. You need to have that balance. That guy can't just be rolled out there as just being a second running back taking the snap every single time. There needs to be an ability to be effective in running an offense and distributing the football, and being a great game manager. But I think being a great game manager, that includes making those decisions on when to kind of break the pocket, try to ab it, and try to make some things kind of happen. So, it doesn't get missed on me, man. I mean, you watch that first drive by Notre Dame in the college football playoff, and you're just like, really? Like, this is what you got playing for your boy all night, you know, and then to see both guys do it and be effective doing it, it really was a huge storyline for me as I watched the game.
Phil Simpson and then most of the Nebraska recruiting staff is out on the trail. Phil is in Miami. Tagged Ja'Cory Barney in some pictures. They're in Florida. Florida got a couple inches of snow today. How's Dallas doing?
Dallas is great. We didn't get any snow. I was in Panama City Beach, however, until Monday morning. And when we were leaving Panama City Beach, that town was ready for something that had not occurred like in over 50 years.
Wow.
They were going to get snow accumulation. So, you know, I think that I read someplace that the state of Florida has a total of 11 snow trucks.
That's probably 10 more than I thought they would have.
So I can't imagine that they're very good at the sub-zero water removal, you know, that's happening right around the state right now. But
Pensacola got 7 inches.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, Pensacola was 90 miles down the road. Destin was 50 miles away. I know Panama City Beach had multiple inches, you know, and they were on the beach kind of showing between the sand and the snow, like kind of digging through it a little bit. So it's just really kind of odd that I was touching down 65 degrees on Friday, dodged rain on Saturday, cold on Sunday, out on Monday, and then they were getting snow on Tuesday. So pretty wild situation. But Coach Simpson, I mean, the other side there too is that, you know, he was at Cortez Mills High School, which happens to be his old high school,
right,
where he was a head coach. So a little bit of a homecoming. And I think that this is exactly what Nebraska's been kind of missing. You know, I think that they were able to kind of make up Coach Simpson a little bit in the aggregate last year by putting multiple coaches and recruiters into the state of Florida and letting them go out there and be effective. And I think that you can do that, but it never, in my opinion, kind of outweighs or can never catch up with having a guy like Coach Simpson. I think that has those incredible contacts, you know, all the way around the metro area based on his time there as being a head coach. Obviously, it's still very recent enough to where, you know, he was Cortez Mills head coach, and Mills just signed his letter of intent, obviously, in December. So plenty of people still down there very aware of Coach Simpson and what he meant to that area. So I'm sure they were just as happy to see him back there recruiting for Nebraska. And obviously what Nebraska's done with a bunch of, you know, young talent from that part of Florida and what they're doing in Lincoln right now too. So I think Nebraska has a very compelling story for the players of that area, you know, that you can leave there and go be successful and play in the Big Ten, which, you know, now they're saying may be the best conference in the country. So that's a pretty good story to tell.
Whether it be hiring Phil Simpson or bringing in Cortez Mills or recruiting Ja'Cory Barney or putting up the 305 on his fingers on social media, why do you think that Miami and that area of the country is so important to Matt Rhule?
I think obviously the type of football that is played there is a kind of a step above some other areas in the country. I think there's other pockets in the country that are competitive, that have that type of athleticism out there on the football field at any one time. I think that's really what the difference is. I mean, I think you can go watch a game, you know, and find a really talented player on the football field, you know, basically at any one moment. But I think when you go to a market like Miami and you sit down in the stands and you're watching and you're seeing things flash in front of your eyes, like team speed and, you know, explosiveness and skill set and just those kind of and size, because you have the populace and you're able to kind of then get those kind of kids that come out of that. I think that those are the big reasons why you get down into Miami, because it's a year-round kind of game when you get into those southern states. I mean, it's insane what they do here in Dallas. Just the fact that they roll into an off season coming in January, you know, you roll back into spring practices coming March. You know, if you're doing 7-on-7, you're a skill position guy, defensive guy, whatever, you're doing that during the summer. You have what's called, you know, performance course kind of summer workouts that are quote unquote, voluntary, but they're not voluntary. And those guys are out there, busting their humps from 6:30 to 8 o'clock every morning. So it's a year-round sport. You may want to be a multiple sport athlete. The difficulty there is obviously that you have to work that in with football that goes completely year-round in some form.
Staying in the Miami area, one of Omaha's finest, one of my favorite players to watch last season, Torrey Pittman III, 5-star player from Omaha Central, was in Miami to visit the Canes. What are you hearing from that visit, if anything?
Actually, I've got a story coming on Torrey Pittman right now. It's halfway done in my admin. So there'll be a story up on him to talk about this, but, didn't get the full-blown visit while he was there. He was down there for a 7-on-7 tournament and got back to Omaha and picked up an offer from the Canes. And then, just before that, I think picked up an offer from Iowa State. I think the trajectory here on Torrey is something that we all need to be kind of very aware of. He could end up being, the most highly rated, highly regarded, highly recruited player to come out of the state of Nebraska in a very, very long time.
He's getting compared to Ed Reed.
Yeah, well, I mean, and this is a guy that obviously could get it done on both sides of the football. I mean, Nebraska really hadn't kind of tried to narrow things down with him at all.
He's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, he told me tonight that he thinks he's, feeling more defense than offense, and mentioned that he could have had 3 picks in one game but dropped a couple. And I think for anybody to say that about a 7-on-7 term, which is kind of a national kind of thing there when they're going down there, that's pretty incredible. And then his team will be heading out to Los Angeles here soon. No other visits planned here yet at the moment. Great frame, great size, great explosiveness, great ball skills. Just going to be a fun guy to kind of watch, over there at Central and seeing what he does from here on out, because he's on a very rare trajectory for in-state recruits.
All right, I heard you giving your reverse psychology and giving the Chiefs their flowers. Give us a prediction for Sunday.
Yeah, I know I had to do that. Well, I'd be lying again if I didn't tell you I wasn't confident. I do feel like this is going to be Buffalo's year. I'm going to take Buffalo in a little bit closer of a game. I think what people might say. I'm going to go 27-23, and I want an opportunity. One before I die, guys. The 90s were tough. If for not being a Cornhusker fan, I don't know what I would have done. So one before I die. That's the mantra this weekend.
And there's the jinx we were looking for. Thanks, Brian Munson. We appreciate it. Hey, I'm gonna be in Houston in April on a connecting flight. If something weird happens, I might drive up and get some Heart 8 barbecue if our plane crashes or something.
Oh man, we got to go to 1050. We got to go to 1050 this time. Similar kind of format, just a little bit better food, man. But we'll try it out.
That's Brian Munson. Get all your barbecue information at Brian Munson _ on Twitter, or follow him at all of his work he does at Husker Online. B, we appreciate it. We'll catch up with you next week.
Later, boys. See ya.
If you missed Brian's segment, check it out. SoundCloud.com/AfterHours1620. It was brought to you by AX Plumbing, Home or Residential. They can do it all. Check out axpservice.com for all your plumbing, water heater, gas piping, or backflow prevention issues. AX Plumbing is locally owned and operated. They'll leave your home or business cleaner than they found it. Check out axpservice.com for more details tonight. Ben Geezer gives his hottest sports take on the other side of the break here on 1620 Zone.
Hey, everybody. John here for Cunningham's Pub and Grill. You know what tonight is? It's Wing Wednesday. Derek and the crew brought us their new garlic Parmesan wings. You've been asking for them. Well, they got them. Next Wednesday, that's the target for the new menu. You can get your garlic parm fix at one of the 2 great Cunningham's locations, either in Blackstone or in Old Mill. And let me tell you, the preview, if it's anything like the real deal, you are going to love it. It's another great addition to an already fabulous menu at Cunningham's. Plus, Derek brought us the new classic cheeseburger. Here's what it is. It's just a great beef patty with their special sauce, pickles, onions, and lettuce on a tremendous bun. It is one of the best burgers I've had in a long time. And I'm not just saying that. It's great. You need to get to Cunningham's. If not tonight, make sure you get there when they release the new menu. Try all those great new flavors that Derek and the great staff at the 2 locations have put together. It is amazing. It's incredible. They never miss. Plus, you heard Derek tonight talk about this super buffet on that big Sunday for the football game. You want to get there for that. Both locations are going to have all you can eat wings, sandwiches, and some appetizers. So don't miss out on that on the big Sunday coming up in February. All right, Cunningham's Wing Wednesday. Retweet the gift. Get yourself that $25 gift card. You know you want free wings from Cunningham's. just under the wire.
Do I put in like too much of an unreal expectation on producing this show? Is that the problem?
You're just
Kind of a jerk?
It's just kind of a jerk.
Okay.
I'm just happy I remembered, kind of.
Hey, it's the closing time of the After Hours Lounge, brought to you by Pyramid Contractors. Over a decade of being the number one roofer in Omaha doesn't happen by accident. Head over to pyramidroof.com and get yourself a free estimate today. It is time for Papillion Sanitation Trash Takes of the Night. What we'll do here is John, myself, and Ben Geezer will give you a hot take in the sports world. Put up a poll on Twitter. You'll vote for who had the best take. Whoever gets the least amount of votes has the trashiest take of the night. We'll go ahead and start with John Schreiner.
I'm going to do something that you don't get from me very often.
Pro wrestling take?
I'm going to have a take about the NBA.
Oh, okay.
And it's the story that's dominating your NBA headlines. It's Jimmy Butler.
Okay, I have to change my trash take now.
Because you're going Jimmy Butler also?
Go ahead.
I've been a critic of Jimmy Butler for a long time because ostensibly my favorite NBA team is the Chicago Bulls.
Okay.
Realistically, I don't pay attention. But when he was a member of the Chicago Bulls, I paid more attention than I do now.
It's pretty good at the basketball game.
He's a great player. Fabulous when he's on the floor. And that's the issue.
Okay.
It's when he's off the floor that we have the problems.
Plural, by the way. Problems.
And with him
An S in there, Ben.
missing a team flight,
Okay, maybe we're going to have a different take here then.
this is a tremendously selfish act.
Okay.
I understand that, like, we don't take seriously the NBA's injury reports and load management and all that is a joke that everyone makes all the time. But Jimmy Butler could have come to an agreement with his organization, and they could have found a way to say, like, look, I don't really want to play for you guys anymore. Let's not have a big firestorm about this. Just tell him I'm on load management or something. And the Heat probably would have obliged to that, right? To avoid the negative pub, to save some face and keep their names from being drugged through the mud and making bad headlines. But instead of doing that, he just skipped out on the team flight. It's childish. It's ridiculous. You're a professional, supposedly.
Allegedly.
Like, honestly, it's so ridiculous. Like, this is the equivalent of just ghosting your job.
It's exactly what he did.
Just not showing up and not telling anyone that you're not showing up anymore.
We got to get through this really quickly because we're up against it. My hot take was, I cannot believe the Heat suspended him after doing this because you've just given him what he wanted. That was the After Hours Lounge. Ben, you're off the hook tonight. If you missed it, check it out at soundcloud.com/afterhours1620. If you or somebody you know who owns a business isn't getting the cybersecurity that they deserve, check out allobusiness.com. Work with Allo Fiber to come out and give you the managed services that your company deserves. For Ben Geezer, John Schreiner, I've been Jimmy Allen. Happy National Blonde Brownie Day, everybody.
Just get a regular one.